Okay. I'm going to stand for this set because I'm feeling healthy. Okay, I'm Roz Kaveney. I'm a poet. A couple of years ago, well, 3 years ago now, when I wasn't really writing poetry very much, there was the anniversary of the Stonewall riot. And a lot of gay male historians decided to claim the Stonewall riot for, like, them, because it was all during the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, and trans people were saying, we want to be in that, and they were going, fuck off, shut up. And so they tried to exclude us from our own history, and a lot of trans scholars were doing the heavy lifting on that, but I thought what we needed was a poem. You know, at school we did all those Victorian poems about great battles, so I thought we need one of those, and this is what I wrote. Stonewall, a poem. When there is a riot, it's like when there is a crisis in a lot of lives. It is when a hinge creaks, when a hinge moves, and things change. The place where there is a riot, where there is a crisis, that wasn't important till it was important. Important for what happened there. Stonewall was just a bar where gay men and some dykes went to drink or to get laid. It wasn't a bar you went to if you were too poor, too queer, too young, too brown. It was a bar down the street. One night, it was the place where things changed. You have to remember, you have to imagine how things were back in the day. Sometimes you went to a bar and your life changed, not for the better. The police would come in because no one had paid them, or just because they could, and the police dragged you out. You stood in night court, or you lay in a cell with drunks, hoods and thieves who knew you were queer and worse than they were, and no one could hear you scream. The press took your name and they printed your name, and that changed your life. You lost your job, your home, the marriage where you hid, your children and your future and your hope. And people went to bars for all the reasons people go to bars: to drink or to get laid. And sometimes their lives changed. That night at the Stonewall bar, things changed, and changed for the better. We don't know all their names, the people in the bar, when the police went in and then things changed, so make them up. Harold was there after the symphony, or maybe La Boheme. He'd have to check, he keeps his diary still. Still, he went there because he wanted to have a drink, or wanted a fuck. And Judy had died, and he wanted a friend. Arnie was there. He worked construction. He wasn't queer, he told himself. He wanted a blowjob and not to have to pay. And Harold spoke to Arnie, and Arnie had a beer, and Harold had a white wine, and then the police were there, and Harold was relaxed and sad about Judy, and dreaming of the man who got away. And Arnie thought, well, I'm fucked if this gets out down the construction site. So Harold shouted, "Fuck off, pigs!" And Arnie shoved a cop, and somebody hit Harold in the head. And Arnie said, "Don't hit my friend." And then it all kicked off. Or it wasn't quite like that. It was Betty, who taught school out in the suburbs, and was talking to Dean, who had an Elvis quiff and could fix your bike better than any man. And a cop told Betty he could fuck her better. and ran his fingers up and down her spine. And Dean said, "Fuck off, pig." And then it all kicked off. Or it was baby Val, there for her birthday. She was just 18, the first time she'd been out holy in drag, and she just cried and cried. The pigs had ruined her birthday, so she cried, and then it all kicked off. And so the police, they dragged Harold and Dean and Betty and Arnie and the rest out of the bar and into the street, and then it all kicked off. And they held baby Val inside for questioning, and someone screamed, "The pigs are beating Val in the back room," and then it all kicked off. The riot was the bar, and the riot was the street where people lived, the street where people worked. Too young, too queer, too poor, too brown, looking for handouts or daddies for the night or cheap street drugs, in drag and out of it. The people with nothing to lose. I know their names because they are my kind. Marsha P. Johnson, present. Alison Alante, present. Tammy Novak, present. Zazu Nova, present. Birdie Rivera, present. Storm DeLavery, present. Miss Major, present. Holly Woodlawn, present. Sylvia Rivera, present. Probably. In spirit anyway. So print the legend. Sylvia was there, and maybe through the bottle smash they heard around the world, and all the rest, drag queens and street queens and hair fairies and gender illusionists and Warhol superstars, street transvestite action radicals. That was later, still they were all there, in jeans that looked like you could peel them off, like fruit skin, like peach skin, like grape skin, in eyeliner and eyelashes and paint, so thick it didn't crack, so thick it didn't run. Tear gas made no impression on that slap. And showgirl stockings and their hair fluffed up, hurling dustbins in high heels, screaming, screaming, screaming queens. We are Stonewall girls, we wear our hair in curls, we wear no underwear, we braid up pubic hair. And they were all so young. Sylvia was 17, sweet 17. Alison was 14. Parents threw trans kids away so young back then. Marsha was 25, the oldest lady on the street. And it kicked off. And Tammy ran away, hid in Joe Tisha's flat, but she'd been there. And it kicked off, and Holly got there late, in time to throw a brick, but she was there. They were the Stonewall girls, they wore their hair in curls. They are my sisters, so I sing of them like Homer did dead heroes. And they're dead, the most of them. Sylvia's liver went when she was 50. Marsha, she was found face down and drifting. Alison's still here, married again, and Holly just about. Sometimes trans folk make old bones. The Stonewall girls, their hair in curls. Don't no one ever say they were not there. This much we know. That night everything changed. And they were there, all of them. They were there. The ones I know because they are my kind, the ones I know because I made them up. They changed their lives. They changed all of our lives. The hinge creaked when the door opened. The police came out of the bar into the street, and we came out of the closet into the street. 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 Okay. What?